just sitting with my spirit guys, and I'm like, why do I have to be used as an example? I feel like the sacrificed lamb. um, but I'll take it because we're here to alchemize and to help us repurpose information from discomfort into comfort, pain into beauty. So I absolutely do not advocate for violence at all, at all, in whatever way, whether it's a form of discipline, whether it's a form of control. I do not advocate for violence. And that is why people who do that for me are just a big no no. Yet within that comes the opportunity of teaching by using me as an example. So years ago, I was diving in deeper into my spiritual like healing, and I was in a relationship that towards the end, I something had happened that something came over me and I just lost it and I became violent. And like thank God he didn't turn on me. Like, thank God. And I remember that moment of just losing control, that I was like, this is so dangerous. This is so, so dangerous to have all this anger that I never knew it could come out in that way. And that's when I vowed to myself. I mean, from young, I haven't been someone who has liked violence at all. um, and I vowed to myself that I will never, ever, ever put myself in a situation where I'm going to have that I could possibly lose control. And I need to learn self control. So my work is really self mastery. You know, you have to meet the darkness within you to understand your light and to understand that the power that meeting that shadow aspect of you is a suppressed emotion. I've said before, anger is sadness suppressed because, excuse me, you didn't have the platform to be able to voice um, your truth. And it built into this entity that grows in you. So in my culture, there'd be like amademoni, like demons, but it's an entity that has built up within you and has stripped you of your light. That's why it is important, I'll keep saying it is important to meet those shadow aspects. And hopefully it won't have to be with somebody else, but a blessing. That man who was sent to me was a blessing, who helped me see the facade of me playing sweet and me wanting to be nice. Like, oh my God, everybody needs to know that I'm so nice and everything like that. And he had to show me that experience happened for me to see that side that I was just like, so there's something very powerful around taking that anger and making it soft. So for years, the anger that has been built up, and I remember an old friend once telling me, she was like, "You're angry." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." No, I'm not angry. I am fine. Everything is fine. Everybody's fine. Everybody's happy. I'm making everybody happy. And yes, everything is fine. And she triggered something in me that annoyed me. That's why I lied about it, because it wasn't fine. I hadn't mastered myself. I hadn't really gotten to name that entity and where it had come from. The generational patterns that were passed down that weren't discussed or weren't supported to at least curve, the ball. Um, so violence when it comes to anyone, but when it comes to kids, you haven't dealt with that entity that is not even new. It's just taken over you. You taking that power and you putting it on someone or a child who doesn't have the strength that you have, can't even protect themselves with the strength that you have, right? Because your years, in comparison to the little child's years of resentment and anger, and it just builds up with all this like tense energy, it has built up in a man or a woman, whatever age you are, that if you haven't been able to express yourself and then you want to take that out on a child because then you're saying that you love them and you're saying that you're trying to discipline them and correct them. There are so many other ways to set your boundaries, not only as a person, but as a person who is playing a role in that young person's life, in whoever's life, right? It's important that if these generational ideologies were passed down to you, that you question them, specifically when it comes to harm against another. In yoga, I don't know which one it is. No, non-stealing is pirigraha. The non-harm, non-stealing of someone's joy is very important. That you learn how to be joyful for yourself. So that if you see someone who is joyful and in celebration, you don't want to strip that away from you. And that's what happens in parenting, unfortunately, from the wounded space. If you just regurgitating what happened in your environment at home and you're not questioning it, it becomes a problem when we don't think about the actions that we are doing. Like, why do you think it is okay that when you are angry to physically harm someone? Why do you think it's okay? Because this is why people end up in abusive relationships. Because I loved you, I'm disciplining you, I'm correcting you, and I'm advocating for violence. So naturally, then a person is drawn to the very same thing. I've referenced this book before, Women Who Love Too Much. And it's basically talking about divine feminine energy. And whoever has more divine feminine energy within them. It's basically describing that whatever you grew up with is what you are going to attract in your life so that you can have control over it because you felt controlled as a child. So then you would attract that which is opposite to understand it. And that's why it's important to self master yourself so that you do not try strip of someone's joy from them. Because by stripping of someone's joy, you are stripping their freedom. So instead of using people in relationship in a negative way, start to use it in a way that empowers not only you, but the person as well involved. So start getting into more agreeable relationships. Are you in agreement with you? Is that person in agreement with themselves? If that person is not in agreement with themselves, they can never be in agreement with you, right? So perhaps I'm speaking to someone who needs to learn to be alone, like learn to find your own joy without having to do a particular thing. So I said this, I think last week, I'm going to reiterate it again. Someone might be called to fast so that you can strip the layers of confusion and you can get closer towards inner alignment. Okay. So here advocating for a more peaceful world, a more respectful and respected world, respected people, ordered in their divinity. Let us not harm one another because we are in conflict with ourselves, because these things are entities. They're entities. And when you strip away from who you are and this entity has taken over your life, then you're stripping someone's joy. Ahimsa, non-harm. I'm just feeling into great change that is coming in the world. With the new earth, with truth at the highest point of consideration for everything. That we are going to live in a world, and we live in a world now, because we need to start believing it. We live in a world where we protect each other. We live in a world where we can be our God selves. We live in a world that is free. We live in a world that has creation. We live in a world where people can really experience unconditional love, where they tap into that frequency of, I don't need you to be anything other than who you are. I need you to be you. And I don't need you to be someone who you think is going to please me. I need you to be you. I need you to be comfortable with being you. And by being comfortable, we can dwell in each other's presence with ease, without the need to please. Great change is here. And here is an invitation for you to start mastering yourself, because there is a lot of pent up anger from the sadness, from our voices being shut. And I'm here, like throwing like a fish hook and saying, start being honest with yourself. Start questioning your reality. Start questioning, why do you think I have to do it that way? What about my way? Think about, what would you do in this situation? What would love do? What would unconditional love do? What would freedom do in this situation? And let's start setting more boundaries. Stop betraying yourself by consuming things that do not make you come back into yourself. So once again, some people need to start coming into state of fasting so that you can draw closer to God, and you can release your conditions so that you can tap into the frequency of divinity, divine order, creativity, space, stillness, being. That's the new earth, is being here now. Thank you if you have been listening up until this part. Thank you for your truth, because when you tell your truth, you free us. And that's the real freedom, is using your voice to start telling the truth. You know, we are already in the year of 2025. So things are ending and have ended. It's just that the world is now catching up to that. So we use the numbers to just help us go, okay, it's time. We were prepared for this already. Sending so much divine love in this moment. So much gratitude for freedom. Use your voice to tell the truth.